When the beauty of land is enhanced by a rich culture and compelling history, it has a story to tell. I am standing in such a place. Just east of Atlanta, there's a line of rock-topped mountains that give airline pilots a clear landmark as they approach the city. Stone Mountain is the tallest and best known, but south of that granite peak, there are two smaller domes. They are all outcroppings, geological formations that occurred over centuries, caused by shifts in the Earth's underbelly and persistent erosion that ate away everything but the hard granite that remains today. Arabia and Panola mountains were formed at least 400 million years ago. And for a long time, they were ignored as sources of beauty. This region was farmland. But today, Arabia and Panola are cornerstones of Georgia's newest National Heritage Area. As we tour through Panola State Park, Executive Director Mira Cardenas explains these mountains are only part of the package.
Well, I have never been to Panola, and I live so close.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's gorgeous.
So it comes down through Panola Mountain State Park and down into Rockdale County. So it's in Rockdale, South DeKalb, and Henry counties.
So this is a huge area.
40,000 acres, 65 square miles, but we're actually one of the smaller heritage areas in the country.
Here's a map of the area designated by Congress in 2006. It includes cities, historic sites, schools, lakes, old farmlands, South River, and the Monastery of the Holy Spirit. A heritage area is designated not just because of the environment, but also because of the historic, cultural, and scenic resources of a region.
Nature isn't separate from culture or from history. It's all intertwined, and that's what the heritage area allows you to do, is see how these things are intertwined, and how when you look around and you think this is pristine nature, you realize, well, not really, this used to be a farm. So how did people get here? And it helps you understand the role that rivers play in our lives, the role that transportation plays. And we're here on the multi-use bike and hike trail, and that kind of becomes the next transportation.
The South River originates underground Fulton County, but rises to the surface in DeKalb. It is believed Creek Indians used this river like a highway, and it provided power to run mills for the settlers who came later. This trail, built by the Path Foundation, can be viewed as the spine of Arabia Heritage Area. It runs from Panola Mountain to Lithonia, with plans to build all the way to the monastery in Conyers. Eventually, it is hoped this path may hook up with the one which runs from downtown to Stone Mountain. The beauty once ignored is evident all along the trail. Even the barren top of these mountains yield brilliant bursts of wildlife. In fall, the rocks are covered with the bright red of diamorpha, a rare plant that thrives in this environment. Those red leaves are succulents that hold water and reflect the sun. Then in the spring, the red hosts a crown of white flowers. Then by winter, it will revert back to the roots until the process starts again next year. For such a stark environment, there is wildlife everywhere. Small crevices filled with sand allow plant life to flourish, some of it extremely rare. On Arabia, there is a salamander pond. And at the base of both mountains, there are small, sweet lakes. There is usually mist rising from the water each morning, with geese making a scene and beavers gliding by silently, hoping to escape notice.
There are all kinds of interesting things to see up on the mountain that you don't necessarily see within just a nature hike. It is a nature hike, but it's very different. There's a granite mountain, and there are these little pools of water that have tiny little flowers growing in them. And when you realize that some of these little flowers take hundreds of years to develop, you realize why there's a move to conserve and protect those mountains.
Less than 50 heritage areas have been granted by Congress, including Georgia's Augusta Canal region. That is in part because a heritage area is unique. The concept is to preserve not only the environment, but also the places where humans have interacted with the land. For example, Arabia Mountain was once known for its granite, not its beauty. You can still find remnants of that industry scattered on the rock. And all that granite was shipped through the city of Lithonia, which is also part of the heritage area. Kelly Jordan has spearheaded this project for more than a decade and believes without the heritage designation, this part of history could have easily been overlooked.
It was the #1 shipping point in terms of tonnage on the railroad in the entire state of Georgia at one time because of all the rock that went out of here. And that rock went to paving blocks, went into streets all across the United States. Washington, D.C., Cleveland, cities like that paved their streets with Lithonia granite blocks, or buildings throughout the country. The naval academies in Annapolis are gigantic granite buildings built out of rock from here. And all of that was going out of here. Well, when that was going on, Lithonia was like the Wild West from the stories that we've been told and things we've seen.
Granite from the region is spread across America. Scottish workers busted rock in the early 1800s, followed by generation after generation of people like Charles Walker.
Well, I'm 59 years old, and I've been doing this for about 45, 46 years. And I started when I was about 14. I'm used to it. It don't bother me, I can take any big rock and break it down.
Men like Walker spent every day of their lives carving curbs for our streets and blocks for our buildings.
I tell them to work hard all my life for a little or nothing, but I mean, it's all right. I'm gonna be okay. That's the only thing that I could say. Because I did a lot of hard work like this, and it seemed like it did me a lot of good, because I know that the age that I am, I'm supposed to be looking rougher than I do, but I don't feel bad. I feel good all the time. Like to go all the time and like to go to work. When time comes to go to work, I'm there every Monday. A lot of them lay out on Monday, but I don't do that because if you get out here and doing this kind of stuff, you get Monday gone, you can make the rest of the week. It come easy to you. But if you feel bad on Monday and don't work, you're going to be doing the same thing Tuesday and Wednesday, feeling the same way. So I should be not going to work. I'll be there every Monday and go and do what I'm supposed to do. Beat me 20 times and go home. Be ready for the next day. This end of this toe here been mashed clean off, but it growed back. I never did stop work. Went to the doctor and kept on. The next day I was back on the job. I was hopping around when I was back on the job. I'm tough.
You won't find men who, as they say, beat 20 tons of granite a day anymore. The quarry is closed, and machines do that kind of work today. That's why Jordan has been collecting these oral histories, so that people will be able to catch a glimpse of a period that would likely be forgotten. We met at the old Lion Farm. This used to be part of the Creek Indian Nation. Since Joseph Lyon served in the War of Independence, he was given the land when the U.S. held a lottery for 100-acre parcels. This house was built in the early 1820s and is believed to be the oldest continuously lived-in house in DeKalb County.
For the last 40 years, this right here is where we lived.
Years ago, the late George Lyon also granted Jordan an interview so generations in the future will know what life was like on the farm.
I had several fields of cotton over there for about 2 or 3 years, and I tell you, the boll weevils had gotten so bad that you could not hardly raise cotton anymore because boll weevils eat it up. And a lot of farmers lost everything they had on account of the boll weevils eating up the cotton crops. We grew sweet potatoes, iced potatoes, grew peanuts, and all kinds of vegetables. Corn, squash, okra, butter beans, butter peas. We grew it all. That's what we lived on. We never had to go to a store and buy groceries. See, we didn't get electricity down here till July the 7th, 1947. That's when we got electricity. And telephones didn't come in until about 10 years later.
Like most farms in the South, the Lyon family had slaves, their living quarters still intact.
There were not large plantations in this area like in other parts of the South, I suppose. But yes, the Lyons were slave owners. They've been upfront with that about it. There are people buried in the Flat Rock Cemetery up on the hill, last name Lyon, who are African American people. His last name is Lyon, and of course that's how that happens. But it's a very powerful connection, though, that eventually developed between the Lyon family and the Flat Rock community.
Flat Rock is one of the oldest African American communities in Georgia, and as such plays an important role in the heritage area. On a warm October day, we met at the site of the first Flat Rock Church, now gone, but outlined in yellow tape.
We want everybody to come in closer and try to get into the church.
The Flat Rock community was first recognized in 1822, mostly made up of slaves who ironically held their first services in a place without any walls. The Flat Rock Church was built decades later and is now gone. But historically, this remains a special place and a special community. After the Civil War, many African American communities dissolved as freed slaves fled the land they were tied to. The Flat Rock community lives on.
Ride on, King Jesus, ride on. No man,
This ceremony is being held to consecrate a slave cemetery.
no man.
As they begin walking to the burial site, ancestors of slaves join those representing blacks who fought with the Union. High school students walk with those old enough to remember segregation. The group makes its way through the woods and up a hill, and people begin looking for names they might recognize.
We give thanks and praises for that supreme energy of the universe that gives us what we need to survive and to move forward as a people. And let everyone say, gather here, Ashe. Ashe.
It is a solemn occasion. Flowers placed purposely on each site. Some of the graves are marked only with a flag, put there by Georgia's state researchers. Johnny Waits has an entire family here.
This is it. This is what the slaves got. This is it. They got a rock. And I don't know why they didn't take the time to do that. It's just amazing to me. It's amazing.
It really is. I saw a tombstone down there. It was so intriguing. It looked just like a block of granite, and it looked like someone had carved out the name John.
Yeah, isn't that great? My great-grandfather's the same way. It looked like they took a piece of rock out of the quarry and somebody took the time to put J.W. Waits in it.
Well, show me. I didn't see
Oh,
that.
okay. It's right over here.
I didn't see that one.
Yep, that's my great-grandfather. And also Warren's Moon great-grandfather. See?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
John Waits, W-A-I-T-S.
You're right. Somebody just carved it out.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It is indeed.
Yep. And these are his brothers. That's Crawford Waits. And that's Andrew Waits, his brother. And his mother's right here, Eliza Waits, right here. And we know this because my grandfather's All of those was born in the 1800s, early 1800s. And all of my great aunts and uncles, they came to the cemetery and they said, that's my grandmother's grave, that's my uncle's grave. And that's how we know some of the stone ones that don't have headstones. That's how we know some of the graves.
One thing that we really do value out here, of course, I think you've seen it, is a very disparate group of people from all different walks of life that are part of the Alliance and part of this effort, right? I mean, we like to think of ourselves as multiracial, multicultural. Everybody's part of the story here.
The path connects the resources, but really the Arabia Alliance is connecting the people. And you're exactly right. People who would not have generally encountered each other in their day-to-day lives are in some ways building a new type of community. It's not, they all live here, most of them work here, and they are looking for ways to share, to protect it, but then also to share it and educate other people about the resources that are here.
For example, Johnny Waits, a man searching for slave burial sites, would not ordinarily be hanging out with the abbot of a monastery. But Father Francis Michael is also part of the heritage community and brought Waits here to see a slave cemetery found on monastery property.
Wow. I mean, you have so many of them.
Yeah, as I say, see, it extends up into this corner here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a big cemetery. For 20 graves, that's a lot of people, even though we've seen one child grave, but that's a lot of people.
And again, the other good piece is that it's on an easement. So it's on a perpetual easement. It can never be developed.
Do you plan to put a marker, anything out here in the future?
I'm open to suggestions. In other words, I don't know what to do because it's inside the cloister, so it's not in an area that there's any plan for it to be open to the public.
And from there, the discussion turned to different churches where Indians might have lived, how burials have changed. In short, a conversation that may lead to a better understanding of two cultures. The Monastery of the Holy Spirit is considered the spiritual gateway to the heritage area. The idea is that people will be motivated to explore based on their interests. For example, geology buffs might head to Arabia. Those looking for solitude may begin their journey here. There is no other place like this in Georgia. This is a Roman Catholic community of Trappist monks who live a cloistered life dedicated to prayer. They cannot leave without permission, but many people come to them.
That's the difference, is that people can come to a monastery with whatever questions they have, whatever sorrows they have, whatever pains they have. People that would never go to a priest, even though some of us are priests, they would never go to a church. They have a sense that they can come here and open their heart to a monk, and it'll be received, and it'll be reverenced and cherished. Anything. I don't believe in God. Sometimes I don't either. You know, there are days that I can't see God. Some of the great saints, Mother Teresa supposedly was in darkness for like 30 years and wasn't sure there was a God, and just continued to believe that there was and act like there was.
And we all have this image of monks as being knowing all and praying and just, it's good to know you're...
See, it's almost, Sharon, it's almost the opposite of that. You see, it's almost the opposite of that. Monks are not the strong ones who know everything and are like all-powerful. Monks are the weak ones, you see, who anybody can come to and know that they're not going to be judged because the monks know themselves to be broken.
Monks have a job. Their whole purpose is to focus on God and pray for the rest of us. But in some ways, they're just like anybody else.
But to do that, if we're going to bring more people, then we have to establish our, excuse me.
Monks have cell phones.
You saw me put it on Did you not?
I did. I'm teasing you.
I put it on vibrate. How did
I
it do
know.
The monastery itself is beautiful, but its grounds represent the largest green space in the heritage area. Thousands of acres are protected, and much of it is open to visitors who simply need peace, quiet, and a place to sort things out. The monks are a bit nervous about having a path run through their property, but the Arabia Heritage Area has convinced all of these communities to take a hard look at each other and throw in their lot together.
I have a feeling there are a lot of people who live within the heritage area who don't know the rich history and the depth of nature that they have right here.
I'm 20 minutes away, and I had no idea that
Right.
this beautiful park was, I mean, I knew it was somewhere around here, but yeah, you're right. People don't know.
Yeah. Finding ways to reach people in a very cluttered world where you're constantly hit with media of buy this, do this. How do you reach somebody and say, come take a walk?
Yeah.
Relax.
We took the challenge to get outside and out of our comfort zone and decided to spend the night in a tree.
Our tree, which is Naomi Ruth, is a southern red oak, and it's named after my wife. I actually proposed to her in this tree.
Jody Rice heads this program in Panola Park. It's called Z's in the Trees. But before you can spend the night, you have to learn the ropes.
Our first rule is please do not step on the rope. The rope is your life, okay? This is called double rope technique.
Oh,
It supports you.
respect the rope.
That's right.
You literally inch your way up the tree.
Okay, this is hard for a girl with no muscles in her arms.
My tree mates tonight are Girl Scouts and a young man,
Sharon,
all of them better climbers than me.
stand up, slide up, sit down, relax.
But the climb takes place in the dark. After dinner, we all head back to our pods like canvas hammocks, only square.
Is this fun? Are you having a good time?
I don't know yet. Ask me in the morning. If I get down in the morning alive, I'll tell you.
We made it through to the next morning. As the sun broke through the trees, it was time to head down.
Okay, you got permission, pull down the climbing knot.
Well, that was some kind of cool.
This is part of the Heritage Plan. Get outside, meet new people, discover your community, learn about people who make it and made it happen.
You can see, in essence, what America's made of and how it came to be. That's what National Heritage Areas are.
An old Indian quote says, "In our every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations."
The project is still evolving. It's complex. It involves business, governments, historians, and ecologists. But if all goes according to plan, 7 generations from now, this heritage area will still be telling its story. I'm Sharon Collins. We'll see you next time.